Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Mizuki Arts. Today we are going to be redrawing Barbie coloring pages from this coloring book that I had when I was a little kid. If you were an artsy kid like me, or even if you weren't, you probably had at least a couple coloring books that you remember to be like your favorites from growing up. And some of these pages look pretty interesting, pretty rough, so I decided to mark some of the ones that I remember coloring in and some that were uncolored, and I decided the ones that were uncolored I was going to end up coloring in myself just before we got started. So I ended up doing that, and I thought maybe my approach to coloring pages would be a little different, but I found that even though I had fun, I was still like super impatient with them. It must be something about the paper texture or the way that the colored pencils go on so pale, and the crayons never really do what they're supposed to do. But anyways, I had fun and I'm ready to start drawing now. Just a quick little shout out to Ashley and Michelle Kelly for supporting me on Ko-fi. Thank you guys so much as always, and now let's talk about Barbie. The first coloring page I chose was from Barbie Swan Lake, and it has Rothbart kind of menacingly heading towards Barbie and Prince Daniel, I think. I keep calling Odette Barbie for some reason, just because I think it's Barbie in Swan Lake, I don't know, but anyways, I wanted to choose this page because I colored it some years ago, and I thought it would be kind of fun to do at least one that I'd colored in the past, and I knew this one had some characters interacting, and I knew there were some things that were kind of awkward about the original page, like the placement of Barbie's second arm. I noticed in a couple of the pages, Barbie's second arm just kind of like isn't there. It's almost like they're pretending it's perfectly placed so that you can't see her second hand, but it's really just they didn't draw it. So that was kind of fun, and I got to fix that a little bit, I think. Not that I'm anywhere near the ability it would take to put together like a children's coloring book or anything. This coloring book is obviously like extremely nostalgic and special to me, so it's kind of funny to look at it and like criticize the art and things that I never would have even thought about back when. But regardless, I was more than happy to recreate this page and kind of mess with some of the things that I didn't like. I didn't like that Barbie's expression was kind of blank, even though her like big villain for the story who'd like cursed her and everything was like running at her. I think I did a poor job with Rothbart's emoting, just because he already like looked pretty awkward, but he looked a lot more menacing in the coloring page. I feel like in my version he just looks like determined or concerned, and Daniel in the original coloring book was a lot more like accusing or like how dare you. I don't know, he didn't look like he was like hiding behind Barbie, which really the rest of his pose kind of suggests. So I tried to change his expression a little bit, and I tried to make Barbie's position look less doll-like and more like defensive or scared or something in between, which was fun. But really I had a hard time drawing Rothbart, and I can't get past that because look at his hair. I forgot his beard at this point too. You'll see I drew it in later, but he's got helmet hair and no facial hair right now, which I can't even believe. I mean, was I even paying attention? Like, I don't know. But that's kind of what I'm thinking now, like watching back the process. For the colors, I decided to stay relatively close to how I'd colored it originally, but I did change a couple things just to have a little bit of creative freedom. I made Barbie's dress more like a lavender color, like I gave it a warmer and also lighter hue to it. I changed her crown to purple, and I think it's actually purple in the movie, but I can't say for sure. I changed Prince Daniel's hair a lot, because his original in this particular coloring page just looks really weird. In all of them, I think the characters all look pretty plasticky, which I imagine is intentional, like they're meant to look like similar to the movies and similar to the dolls, but his hair just kind of looked like it was gelled incorrectly, like it wasn't the same style as the rest of the coloring book. So I changed it entirely for this piece. And for Rothbard's coloring, I decided not to give him a gray or black robe because I feel like too many villains wear black. Like, I know the reasons why, like I know it's color theory and all, but it's so boring just to give villains black all the time. I know because it's a kids movie, these types of characters are like made in a lab, so to speak. Like there's a very specific pattern for the colors and design choices that they make throughout the whole movie for all the characters. But I definitely I wanted to see it mixed up, and I don't think the green robe makes him look any less menacing. I think it just makes him fit in with the garden foresty theme of Barbie Swan Lake. So I had fun with that creative choice, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching the process for this piece. Let's move on to the next one. For this next piece, I chose a coloring page from Barbie and Rapunzel. My coloring book had lots of different Barbie stories in it, if you couldn't tell. And in this one, I chose another one with two characters interacting, and here was an interaction that wasn't really clear in the coloring book, and I remember being confused about this. But in this particular page, Gothel is cursing Rapunzel or Barbie to make sure she can't leave her tower. And it's kind of unclear how she curses Rapunzel, so I remember being confused with that. But I decided I'd leave it just as vague in the redraw, just because I really wasn't sure what it was. I'd never seen the movie. I think I was more of a Disney kid growing up when it came to movies. I mean, I definitely was Barbie obsessed, but like it was over the dolls and not necessarily the movies. But I tried to make Gothel still have her long face, but I tried to give it kind of a sharper, more mature look, just because I feel like that's something that wasn't communicated super well in this coloring page. Like, I feel like she looks like maybe a little bit older than Rapunzel, but not drastically enough where I think Barbie would have been able to believe that Gothel was her mom. I'm not sure if that makes sense. I haven't seen the movie, so maybe she knows that she was like taken in or whatever, or feels like maybe she was just adopted. I don't really know. But anyways, I had a lot of fun drawing her little spiral hairstyle there. I thought it was more like a spiral ponytail, but looking at the other pages, I'm not so sure. In the other pages, it kind of looks more like her hair's just pulled back and it just naturally kind of twists that way. But I guess it doesn't really matter. It's just my interpretation. But Gothel's hair, however, just like Rothbard's, was a mess. I thought it was kind of a Beethoven's wig thing going on, but turns out she's got like a weird bun thing. I know there is a hairstyle like that, but I don't know, I didn't know there was a bun there at first, so I feel like it just looks really weird. But then I got to the coloring stage, and coloring the skin was of course pretty straightforward. And coloring the outfits, however, I took some creative liberties. I decided to color Rapunzel's dress blue and pink, similar to how I had colored her dress in the coloring page, and of course I gave her her signature blonde hair. Again, this braid was just really fun for me. It was like, I don't know, some kind of fulfillment with my obsession with fairy tales and stuff, so it was just really fun for me. And since I colored her dress relatively kind of the same as I think a lot of the I think the movie actually has her dress being like a purple and pink, so I think I only changed it slightly, so it's pretty similar to a lot of the screenshots from the movie I've seen. The rose I did change the color of, though. I believe the rose is purple, but I made it pink, just because I felt like a rose should be pink. But Gothel's dress I made full on pink and black. I just didn't want to do the red, black, and gold thing that I'd done in the coloring process of the original coloring page. I wanted her to, again, not just have that very, very typical red and black color palette that so many villains have. I just wanted to kind of branch away from that. So I decided to use pink. I also thought this made her work a little bit better with Rapunzel's color palette, but of course I did give her black hair because that is just how I always imagined this character. I think because I let it be a little more gray than black, it also lends itself to that age difference factor that was so important in me designing her face. Like I kind of feel like it suits the new exaggerated bone structure I gave her. For the magic coming from her hands, I kind of just colored them like lightning bolts, and then after some final touches, she's done. And I know in the first part of this video I picked out a third coloring sheet to redraw, but because my first semester of college has just started, I felt the need to kind of rush through this video to make way for new projects, just because it took me a little bit longer to get this one done. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more fun content. Bye!